So I just finished Andor, and it's pretty obvious to me that Star Wars needs more things like Andor and less things like Episode 9. But first, please like, subscribe, and share. Anything you can do will help my channel reach more people. And if you like this video, make sure to hit that bell icon so you can get my videos as soon as they drop. So let's start out. There's a spoiler alert because frankly, I'm going to talk about a few things that happened at the end of Andor. So Andor ends on a sad note. And it's sad because we actually know what will happen to the character. He survives his show as we always knew he would because he was destined to die in Rogue One. But the twist happy ending was the fact that Bix was carrying his baby, showing the fact that a lot of people in this show died to save the rebellion. But many, many more will live and be free because of the characters and their actions in the show. The show had so much heart. It had so many characters that you learned throughout the 2 seasons, saw where they came in, where they just brought their little bit to help the rebellion, and all of it, of course, leads up to Rogue One. And Rogue One itself leads up to Star Wars A New Hope. There were so many things about Andor that made it really good. First of all the characters were amazing. They each had their own reasons why they were in the fight, and frankly, a lot of them weren't just cut and dry on being good, whether you should follow the laws, whether you should kill indiscriminately, or where you should lie somewhere in between. And we followed these characters over a 6-year period, some of them having no desire to be in the rebellion to begin with. Meanwhile, some of those people were willing to die for the rebellion before the end. We had some classical characters like Mon Mothma, which is a character that was originally in Star Wars almost 50 years ago. Characters like Andor, which have been around for about 10 years. And then characters like Bix that were just brought up for the show, but almost makes you want to know what happened to her after the end of this show. Disney finally had something different with Andor because it wasn't Force-based. In fact, they barely even talked about the Force throughout the show. These people have lived under a tyrant's rule for almost 15 years. They have no desire to hear about religion or these people that failed to save them from the tyrant 15 years earlier. They are searching for hope in all the corners of the universe, and frankly, it's hard for them to find it at the beginning. But things come together over these 2 seasons where they finally have a shred of hope. And of course that is ending in A New Hope, of course. But Andor could have taken place in almost any universe. Frankly, there's a lot of things that mirror how tyrants take over in our world as well. Yes, it happened to take place in Star Wars, and yes, there were a lot of spaceships and some aliens in the background. And of course, killer robots throughout. But it wasn't a show that was 100% focused on the fact that it was in the Star Wars universe. It was a spy show about hope and rebellion that happened to take place in Star Wars. And that's a huge difference. And you know, I think that's one of the big things that Disney is finally starting to get right. They're starting to have shows where it's about kids going on an adventure that happens to take place in Star Wars. They have a spy show that happens to take place in Star Wars. Not everything has to be Luke, Leia, and the Skywalkers going against Darth Vader. Nothing against those movies, but that's 50 years ago. We're finally getting something different. And of course, we won't get an Andor Season 3. If you want to see Andor Season 3, it's called Rogue One. And Tony Gilroy has said that he will not come back to Star Wars. He's done his time, which frankly is true. He started working on Rogue One like 10 or 11 years ago. But let's talk about what could happen in the future. We can have more shows that take place on little corners of the universe that happen to be in Star Wars, that aren't focused on the Force or Jedi or Sith, that cover stories that could take place in the real world that just happen to be in Star Wars, that happen to have all these amazing planets and galaxies, but they deal with real issues that real people deal with on our planet. The themes of control and rebellion can be mirrored to our lives so easily. And that's why so many people loved Andor. It wasn't so hyperbolic that it just is almost unbelievable. It was almost hitting home too much for some of us. Andor was a great show, one end to the other. It actually made me appreciate Rogue One even more. Back when I left Rogue One, my favorite scene was how Darth Vader came in and killed everyone at the end. But now I'm really wanting to go rewatch Rogue One and see the final chapter of Andor's story, because I now know the first few chapters of Andor's story. I'm more involved with his story, more wanting to see the completion of that storyline before he dies. So maybe it is a 6-year journey to make that final trek in order to find the weakness of the Death Star. Or maybe it's just the final portion of his life and we learn so much more about why he joined the rebellion, why he got involved, why the other people got involved in the rebellion. Not just Luke and Leia, but the people in the background, the people that had been having their necks stepped on by the Empire for so long. And that's a story beat that Andor got perfectly. So I'm really hoping Disney sees some great numbers and great reception for Andor. And they see it as an idea that they can keep doing this in the Star Wars universe, showing us different stories, different corners of the universe that aren't just so focused on the Force. And I think they will have more success for Star Wars in the future. Hey, thanks for watching my video. Make sure to click that subscribe button and check out those videos on screen now.